Welcome to Minority Focus on Paducah 2. I'm your host, Jimmie Moore. For those of you who don't often turn to Paducah 2, you ought to do that. Station's got some of everything. Tom Butler's got this going on, along with all the people on his staff that help run the television station. Gail Butler, what was that other name? Gail, hyphenated, oh gosh, she's gonna kill me.
That's okay. That's all right.
Gail's, when it comes to these, shows and entertainment and stuff like that people do in a lot of major colleges, places like that, you don't sneeze at Gail. Gail's awesome at what she does, bringing entertainment to the school and to the city. I've talked with her once, and the things that are involved are like, you wouldn't even believe it. Station's got a lot. Entertainment, trivia, sports, international news. They got stuff for kids. If you're interested in politics,
Politics.
our guest today is Richard Abraham.
How you doing,
What
brother?
up? Been a while. We just said it's been a while. You know, I saw you and Tom doing his show
Yeah.
a few days ago.
Yeah. Well, it's been a while. A lot's happened since last we spoke.
Oh, no doubt.
Yeah, and so it's always good to reflect and look at how you've matured, and you're always learning, and so I look forward to the conversation.
Was that a nice way of? Was that a shot at the grayness in my beard or something like that, man? Did you just take a shot at my?
No, I'm loving your beard, man. I can't wait for mine to get exactly like that. Yeah, I want it white, straight up.
I say that.
Yeah,
I say that often.
Yeah, man. Heck, man. You know, everybody think they give you the benefit of the doubt for a minute. You know, they're like, whoa, that's a guy's brother, right? So now, my job is not to screw that up. So
exactly.
I try to represent.
Nothing wrong with it, you know. And I do not knock people who spend a lot of time, a lot of energy, wanting to look young, if you will, with all that dye. And me and a guy at a job I used to work at swore to each other, we never color one gray hair, never. We're going to accept our grays with with dignity and what have you. Went home, the kids sort of started in on me about the gray. I just had a mustache back then, so I took one of them black pins and I hit it up. Went to work that night. Went in and got a cup of coffee, and we're standing around the time clock.
Right.
And I took a swallow. This guy started, oh, look at this. Look at that stuff running down the side of that cup.
Well, I feel that way about my beard. Now up top, no, that's staying clean. Because sitting down, we were on vacation visiting a brother down in Fort Myers a couple of years ago. And you know, when you're on vacation, man, you just kind of hang out. I usually shave my head every other day, right? But I'm on vacation, man. Like, fuck, I don't know anybody down here. It's cool. Man, about that fourth day, I was looking, I passed the mirror, I was like, whoa, no. It's all white, man. So give me that razor. So
I don't know. I am so happy to be 62 years old. I'm happy about that.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be way up here. Old people, as someone, but you know, you got older people who like when somebody dies, it's 50, 60. It's young man.
Yeah. Well, I was talking to Cindy the other day about, I saw this piece on KET last night when I was visiting my mom, and my mom is 84, and I enjoy our visits. But they were talking about this lady. She lived in Louisville. No, she lived in Detroit, and she had been in Detroit since she was 22 years old, and one of the folks that was really blown away by her activeness in the civil rights movement and all that was Angela Davis.
Wow.
And now this lady she was 95 years old, and she was Chinese. And when you heard this lady's testimony, she was saying that when she was in college, she refused to be different because of where she was from, being Chinese. So she ran for student council president, and she was involved in the student newspaper.
Right.
And when she, and they were asking her about that, why she was so effective in what she did, and she said, you know, I don't know. She said, but I'm pretty sure it has something to do with me being a woman and me being Chinese. And if that's true, then I thank God for that. And I told Cindy the other night, you know, the personality that I have, you know, I thank God for that, because that's who I am. Yeah. And I can't be any other way. So it is engaging. And sometimes that gets me in trouble, right. You know, but more times than not, I can see things and address them in a way. I try, you know, I try to address them in a way that that the person that's making a statement, you know, not to alienate them, but try to bring them around to my understanding. When you mentioned politics a while ago, I hate politics, man. Yeah, that's why I ran for office. Got to change that mindset, you know. But my lovely wife Cynthia, who I refer to often, after 32 years, you know, the true, you know, if we're going to politically talk about or to do this thing, when you have a group of people that says, okay, we really feel that this particular ordinance, this should address this particular situation. It's important to us. And you got another group of people feels a different way. But when you go and you put that ordinance together, you got to include you got to include a reflection of these folks over here, man. Right. Because otherwise, you're like, you didn't hear me at all. I mean, there's no evidence in this policy that you heard us at all, right? So, and it's challenging to do that, but that's an approach that I can get behind. Right.
Speaking, you mentioned this lady that was Chinese. My granddaughter and I traveled a month or so ago. And we reached an airport where flights got canceled, whatever, so we had to spend a lot of time in the airport. This little girl came from around the bench, and they looked at each other, and, you know, instantly, you know, hey, we're kids, let's get together.
Right.
The little girl, I think, was Chinese. I never heard her speak a word of English. Not a word. And they played for an hour, 2 hours, you know, and later on, my grandbaby was around somebody who did speak English, and I saw her make some of the gestures that she and this little Chinese kid, you know, were making. I think I'm getting around to cohesiveness somehow, where you have to at least acknowledge every part without taking all of it to what you're trying to do. But, you know, you were important too. What you said made sense, you know.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes we get caught up in the moment, man. You ever be having a conversation with someone and you're not seeing eye to eye on it, and there's a difference of opinion, and this person, I'm talking to you, trying to express how I feel about this particular issue, and you're not hearing a word I'm saying because you want me to shut up so I can hear what you're getting ready to say back to me. And one of the things, my oldest daughter, Sitha, she had a book called The Art of Argument. And one of the first things in there is you got to learn how to listen.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. you know, Cindy has a way of, you know, we were having a conversation, and she did this with the girls growing up, and she'll go, okay, so what you telling me is this, and she'll repeat what you just said. Yeah. So I've used that downtown a couple of times, man, a few times. So so what you're saying is this right here. It's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. Well, maybe you need to rephrase, because that's what I heard. Exactly. So, but the listening is is a skill. You know, it's a skill. You miss a lot of things when we preoccupy with our own conversations.
No doubt.
So
there's always that distinct possibility that what that other person is saying makes sense.
yeah,
Maybe it's something you need to hear.
Yeah.
There's a possibility that you could change to a better.
yeah.
But you don't hear it because, like you said, while they're talking, you're working, formulating your rebuttal.
Yeah.
You know,
that gets a whole different. That's the essence of honesty, though, isn't it?
yeah, exactly.
When you go into a situation and you got your notes and you're ready to go and you got this whole legion of people behind you. Yes, we're gonna go and you get in a conversation. We're having a conversation and I'm listening because I've acquired that skill over the years and I'm hearing you, and you say something that totally rocks and I see the common sense in it, and right there at that moment. Knowing that you got the legions behind you
Exactly.
that didn't hear what I heard, or they heard it, but it didn't affect them like I'm in a leadership position. For you to look in the cameras, you know what? I was wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm not voting for you. I'm not. No. See, so when you talk about being honest, do I wait till we're off camera and say, hey, Jim, you're right, man. Yeah. Like, well, bro, why didn't you say that on camera? Hey, hey, wait a minute.
Raw honesty can be dangerous. There's no, depending on what you're doing, what you're trying to do, what you're hoping to accomplish, or whatever. I listened. There was a case where someone in government testified about something that had happened. I don't remember right now what it was, but it was the most beautiful I'd ever seen from anybody in the political arena. Mm-hmm. For example, if they ask him, what color do you think the sky is today? Mm-hmm. The man would say, I think the sky is blue today. The politicians don't do that. You know, am I right about it? They say, what color was the sky today? Well, you know, back in 1975, and they never come back to it.
Well, do you remember the movie Eddie Murphy was in, Distinguished Gentleman?
Yeah.
Remember that movie? So there was a scene there where he's sitting at the table and he's conned his way in the office in D.C. So he's sitting, he's meeting with these people. Boom, 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 they're sitting down. So this guy's sitting across the table from him. He said, how do you feel about the spotted owl? And Murphy looked at him. He said, how should I feel? And the guy goes, well, if you're for it, I got environmental money for you. Exactly. If you're against it, I got log money for you. So he goes, oh, okay. So I mean, you know, it's a challenge. It's a challenge when you run. I always find it fascinating when when election season rolls around and you know, you got Labor Day and then you kick it off and you go into the fall campaigning and you're going around knocking on doors and you're telling folks pretty much what they want to hear, right? Mm-hmm. I remember this guy came by the house one day, and this was before I was thinking about running for anything. I'm out there, I'm doing yard work, right? Mm-hmm. And this guy walked by and he was running for some office and he was telling me about, you know, this is what he was going to do. Now, keep in mind, I've never seen this man in my neighborhood before, you know. So he's telling me what he's going to do. Well, that's suspect. You might do that, but what if you? Who are you, man? I mean, you know. So I think when we're campaigning, we're talking to folks. You got to be careful of that conversation, that you don't get yourself in a situation where you're making promises, right. Because I guarantee you that. Those things that happen, you're going to have all these folks going, wait a minute. Yeah, you knocked on my door and you promised me the moon, man.
Well, yeah. I've never understood it. I've never fully understood it. What's wrong with saying, if elected,
Right.
I hope to. I'm going to try to. I'm going to try to gather support to instead of, I'm gonna give all y'all $1 billion.
Yeah, well,
When I get elected, I'm gonna wipe this street clean and I'm gonna clean this neighborhood.
Well,
why do that?
Well,
I mean,
let's just power out there for a minute. You got, I'll never forget when I fully understood the form of government that we have in the city, and it's just a ripple effect down from the federal, the way it's set up. You're on the commission, and when you're running for that office, it's just not you. You know, you can tell people whatever you want to tell them, but the reality of it, according to KRS, that me, you, and Joey, if we agree on a particular thing, it becomes law.
Exactly.
I can't just go in and say, this is the way it's going to be. We're going to pave that street. Here's the money for it. Rick, go do it. No, it doesn't work that way.
Across the board.
You know, so it always amazes me when folks are running for office and I'm going to get in office and I'm going to do this. Where are you going to do that at? I mean, if you get 2 other commissioners to agree with you, then it will become law, and then those things are implemented. But you can't roll up in there like. And what's even more amazing is a lot of people hear that and they think that's the way the government functions, the local government.
Exactly. My daughter and I have been sharing a book. Well, she read it and then she sent it to me to read. It's about ego, and how ego plays into and we're not even aware of it. You know, the things how it moves you. You know, and it's like it's an entity all to itself. That's what I like about you. I've never been able to read. Is he egotistical at home, Cynthia?
Hey.
Is he? I have never been able to read ego into you, man.
Well, I think a couple of things. One, I've different book, I'm sure, but I ran across a writing on ego, and it has a ravenous appetite. Yeah. You can't feed it enough. Yeah. I mean, it's never full. I mean, people say they're full of themselves. You have to continually feed it. And I think when it comes to leadership positions, I think we get caught up in the position. And you want to hold on to that position to a point where you will say or possibly do whatever you need to do to hang on to that stature. Right. And I'm like, okay, first of all, before I ran for office, I was pretty comfortable with Richard Abraham. You know, so I mean, seeing your name in the paper, first time my name was in the paper, I was in the 6th grade and I hit like 27 points and my mom cut it out. It's a little article this big. So from that point to, well now, you know, I see my name in the paper or that's okay. All right, but I'm not.
I've been in the newspaper a whole bunch of times, man. Yeah. We will not discuss the particulars.
Yeah, but that whole ego thing, man. You gotta. I think if you're comfortable with who you are, and you know who you are and where you come from, it kind of balances out. You don't have to try to put on a front about who you are.
I saw a program this morning on television. Started to watch and I got out of it. This Freud, Sigmund Freud, and his thing about ego. And part of the program before that was about the 7 deadly sins. So ego and the one they touched on was envy. Envy and ego sort of hit close together.
Envy and ego.
Envy, ego.
Like that car you got. You know, that nice little car you got. You driving around in your car, and I'm looking at that car. It's like, now I can say that's a nice car. Or I can say, I want to have a car like that. Yeah. Or I can say,
big difference.
Jimmie Moore don't need that car. What's the difference there?
Yeah.
What you got that car for? Think he all that because now the kids call that haters, just hating.
Yeah, period.
You know, but I mean, yeah, that's a nice vehicle, and you look good in it. You know, I'm not gonna dislike you because you have now watch this. Check out how this transition. You remember the guy that killed Michael Jordan's father?
Yeah.
Remember what he said?
I don't
It's Michael Jordan's fault for having all that money. That's what the guy said, man. Are you serious? I mean, does that make any sense at all? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. So, I mean, it is when you talk about things like that, you wonder the process. Where did that young man come from? I mean, what type of environment did he come up in? What type of parenting did he have, or there was nurturing? Something was missing. Something is missing in the formula to make that statement after committing that act.
Right.
I mean, so, envy, ego, pride, all of those things are daily challenges for us to see it for what it is. Actually.
They can be taught. Some of those things can be taught. Like a parent can influence a kid to feel some of those things when they're small. If they carry on like that about something somebody else has or does or this or that or whatever.
Yeah, I was in a meeting. I was in a meeting one time last year, and I was sitting at the table. It was a KBC Leo meeting, which is Kentucky Black Caucus of local elected officials, which I am the vice president of. And if I get elected in November, I will become president of that. But I heard this lady was talking about bullying, and that's a big thing, the cyberbullying and all of that stuff. Because people now, it's like you're in a closet, and no one can see you, so you can say what you want to say.
Right.
And which totally obliterates, blows out the water. The old term, sticks and stones may break my bones, but words will never hurt me. Right. Well, we all know it's a lie. But here's the thing, man. When you say things that are harmful, they linger. Oh, yeah. They linger, and so we have to guard ourselves. We have to guard ourselves to know that that's a challenge.
One of the things I pray about every day, every single day, is for him to remove the pain I feel when I remember hurts that were done to me. I don't want them to be there. And
I think that whole forgiveness is it's not for the other person, man. It takes the gorilla off your shoulders to let that go.
I don't like the feeling. I don't like the feeling, that it brings. I don't like feeling angry or any of those negative stuff. I don't like it.
Think about this. What if that's the only thing you got? I mean, that whatever pain or whatever situation, that has defined you as long as you can remember. So to get rid of that, and the counselors and everybody's telling you, let that go and move on. Well, this I know. That I'm not so sure of. Right? So it's deep, man. I mean, we talk about relationships, Jimmy. I mean, it takes time to build a relationship that you can trust.
Right.
And we live in an age now where it's like, boom, I want it now. It doesn't happen that way.
Yeah. At best, you take care of. I take care of things like that. My daughter texted me one day, you can't control what comes into your mind, but you can decide what stays. And that's for real.
Which daughter is that?
Angela.
That sounds familiar.
Angela's.
That sounds familiar. Yeah.
But I thought about that, and unpleasantness, I try to move. I want it gone. And it works.
Well, it's interesting you say that because Angela was in our Sunday school class when we talked in that high school class at Washington Street. And we used to talk about the first battleground is here. And we used to make this whole thing about there's a guard at the gate in your mind. Halt. Who goes there? Who you with? He's gonna check you out before I let you through. Now, basically that's right.
Yeah, so that wasn't the Angela it must have been a younger Angela, that one that they asked not to bring back to Sunday school because she was up on the table telling people what to do.
Transitions, man. We all have them. We all have them.
Every now and then she throws something at me that's, so I add it. We were talking earlier, and I've said it to my kids and other people. I'm sorry, or I was wrong. Such a simple things to say. What makes people so afraid of being wrong?
Ego, man.
Ego?
Ego's like, nah, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. But then it goes back to what we talked about. That's why I love our conversation. It goes back to being honest, man.
Yeah.
Be honest. What are you gonna do? The most compassionate thing you can do for a person is tell them the truth.
Yeah.
You ain't gonna lie to them? They're already screwed up, man. You gonna lie?
Richard, say it often. I'll lie to you and the whole world, but I ain't gonna never lie to me. You know what I mean? There's an honesty you got to have deep down in there that won't let you do that.
Yeah, it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to. Cindy and I, we've had this conversation. It's kind of. I think it's very hard. How do you gonna lie to yourself? Even when the words are coming out of your mouth, you know it's not true.
That's what I'm
I mean, so who is it for? It's fronting. You don't want this other person to see those.
You just win.
Those liabilities.
You just win. I often said I wish that I could go to somebody and they shoot me some stuff or whatever and search me and found out all these things I don't know anything about. And I ain't scared of none of it. That would come out. It would be so interesting to know that I have a subconsciousness in me that I have a clue exists.
Well, I found out I have a little art. I'm a little bit of an artist.
We got a minute.
1 minute. All right, let's put it this way. Let's look at our mind as a corridor. Down the hallway, on both sides of the corridor, there are rooms. On the left side, there are rooms that we're familiar with. We've been in those rooms since we were 5 or 6, right? On the right side, there are rooms. It's been there the whole time. We never took the time to open the door. Well, I opened the door this past year and found out I like this room. Right. There's art stuff in this room, and I can do this a little bit. Yeah. Right. Well, a situation presented itself, and I took the initiative and went in and sit down and found out that if I spend some time with this, I could be pretty good. So,
and if you don't like it, shut the door.
Close it. Get out.
Keep on going.
On down, man.
Wow.
Yeah.
Got a dash. Got it.
I know it.
We're gonna do it again. I'll leave you with this. The next time you seem to understand that somebody's made a fool of you, or gotten over on you, whatever. If you learn somebody's made a fool of you, don't ever tell them you know it. Then who is the forever fool?
All right.
For Paducah 2 and Minority Focus, I'm Jimmie Moore.